Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inside of the Earth's Core. As always, I'm your host, the Can That Could. On my last video, I talked about how my graduation ceremony, just the preparation to be able to go to it, was pretty bad, and I hated it. And as promised today, I'm actually talking about the ceremony itself, and don't worry, I also have nothing good to say about it. To set the scene, it's middle of June, Texas, and around 5:30 we are meant to arrive at the school to start the ceremony. So I arrived there, and for just a little background context, was at a really large school, so there was like roughly 2,000 graduating students. So we really got there at 5, but it was so hard to get in that it was in fact didn't make it in until 5:30. And when I get in, I'm not surprised to see that there is, of course, a giant line, just like the day before, this time larger because there's even more of us than there were before. But to its credit, it did for some reason move a lot faster. They seem to really understand their line procedure from the previous day, learning from their mistakes, really. So we go through this line, and I'm confused to see that at the end of the line, it's actually ceremony registration, like confirming that you can be here, which I thought is what we did yesterday, so that we wouldn't have to do this. We could just, like, go in, but no, that would be ridiculous. So we just registered again. I don't know, make sure no one bamboozled them, I guess. We get there, and I see that we're all loaded into this giant gymnasium and given assigned seating, which really sucks with 2,000 people that where only half of them really want to be there because any one little mistake kind of takes like 5 minutes to fix because everyone has to get up because it's a gymnasium to fix it. It was a hassle, and I think didn't get everyone in until like 6:30. So like took an hour for everyone to be prepared to start the event. The principal eventually comes on speaker and says, "Oh yeah, yeah, thank you for coming. This is another great year of graduation." All that nonsense. Then he says, "If we all cooperate, we could be out of here in 3 hours." 3 hours. That is too long. That is just simply too long for a ceremony. Like, there must have been some way that we could speed this up. But no, I must be a fool to think such things. But after a while, they say we're going to actually march the football stadium because that's where we're actually going to graduate. And I asked, like, why didn't we just start there? Then we wouldn't have to come here and then march there. But I'm an idiot, so I wouldn't know. We start marching as if we're about to invade Norway. And the thing about it is what we're wearing caps, the blue fancy hats. And the thing about those is that they're not very firmly attached to your head. They're kind of, for the most part, just sitting there. And it's windy. So caps were constantly flying off people's heads. So we had to hold them on our head with our hand. So we were literally walking like this the entire 15-minute walk to the stadium, which sucks. Which you'd think, oh, why didn't you just take it off? No, you can't graduate if you're not wearing a fancy blue hat. So we have to wear them. We can't not wear them. So, you know, going through this whole scenario, walking there, it takes 15 minutes. My hand is really tired because it's been sitting like this for 15 minutes. Then when we get there, the event coordinator comes up and says, "Oh no, we're not ready for you yet." Then why did we march? Why did you send the order to march if you weren't ready for us yet? That doesn't make any sense. So we're sitting there for probably another like 15, 30 minutes. So by this point, it is like 7:30, I think, until they eventually say, "Oh yeah, you can go." our hands and legs tired from standing and holding hats all day. So they do the whole triumphant march. We have to march around the stadium, then eventually come to our seats. It's then I get an even greater vibe of how this is gonna go when at like 7:30 we haven't officially started yet. But then of course didn't take that long for them to actually officially start. Uh, the speech part, because of course no graduation ceremony can start until everyone has had their chance to say something. So I think there was around like four speeches. There was the principal speech, school board representative speech, valedictorian, and student council president speech. So four speeches, which I know that like typically any speech at this type of event is boring. It's not entertaining. But I can respect a good speech if it's like delivered properly. It wasn't. Like they delivered their speeches as if they were being held at gunpoint and they would be shot if they missaid a word. It was so robotic, so boring, and of course it took like another 30 minutes to go through all of these speeches. So 8 o'clock, the event starts. Finally, after we've been here for like 2.5 hours, it finally starts. And to their respect, it actually goes decently smoothly. Going through, they get through 2,000 names relatively quickly. I mean, it takes like 2 hours, so they doesn't happen to like 10, 10, 20, I think. But they do to respect, they got through 2,000 names decently fast. Only like a few mistakes in between. So here I was saying, okay, finally, it's over. My phone is dead because I've been on it trying to distract myself for all these hours. I'm like, okay, finally, ceremony's over. I can go home. I want to go home and sleep forever. But no, it's not over because there are more speeches, of course. Because the school board representative and the principal didn't say all the things that they wanted to say in the first half, so they're going to say it at the end. So they go through another set of boring speeches. And then they play this video, which is like of teachers saying how much they love this school and their students, which normally be like, oh, that's sweet. But it's like 30 teachers saying the exact same thing over like a 10-minute video, which like got boring really quickly. So sat through that. And then, of course, when I thought it would be over, we're getting to like 10:30. Uh, School board had one last shenanigan for us, a fireworks show. Now, this is the part of this story where I'm gonna sound like I'm complaining for no reason, because I know normal graduation ceremonies don't get a fireworks show. That's probably like really cool. Isn't that something like you should say is good? Um, so the first few minutes of it were pretty cool. I was impressed. At 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, I wasn't expecting this. At 10 minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, fireworks. 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is starting to drag on. 20 minutes, I was bored. 25 minutes, I was annoyed and about to just get up and leave. And at 30 minutes, it finally ended. I have no idea why the school board thought that our graduation ceremony needed like 4th of July level fireworks, because wasn't just like, ooh, party poppers or whatever. No, this is like full like 4th of July grade firework show. So we sit through that for like 30 minutes, and then the very last thing they want everyone to sing the school anthem. Now, to be real, I don't know what the school anthem is. If I'm being honest, I don't think anyone at our school knew what the school anthem was except for the school board member. So that was a little awkward because basically like 5 people in the 2,000 person crowd really sang it. It was a little weird. Uh, Now, if you thought that's where the story ends, that is where the ceremony ends, not my story. Because now it is the time to leave, to get to your car and leave. Now, always with these kinds of events with tons of people, hard to get to your car. But I want to put it into perspective a little. There were 2,000 students. Students have families. So if we use like a mathematical model, saying every student has like one, two, maybe five family members that showed up. That is at the very least 4,000 people, at the very highest 10,000 people. That's a lot of people all trying to leave one location at the same time. We didn't actually leave for another hour because there were so many people. Oh my gosh, it was hectic. And of course, like half of my family got lost at the ceremony trying to leave. So it took us extra time because we had to go back in like a search and rescue to find them so that we could go home. Moral of the story is make these shorter. I mean, I get it, it's like really grand, it's a grandiose event, but it wouldn't kill you to not make these events like 7 hours long. No one these days wants to be in one location for 7 hours. But yeah, that's it. You can go. Close the door on your way out. That's all.